If you are a US-born child of an undocumented parent or parents, then you may want to listen to this, or if you know someone who is, send this to them, because Republicans are coming after US-born children of undocumented immigrants. So this Republican presidential candidate recently said in an interview that if he's elected, he's willing to deport US-born children of undocumented immigrants, the whole family, regardless if the children were born in the US, regardless if they are now adults, and regardless if they vote Republican. Don't believe me? We'll just watch the following video.
You said you want to deport the children of illegal immigrants.
I said the entire family unit.
You said you want to deport the entire family unit of undocumented immigrants.
Yes.
Entire family unit. So let's just be clear about what you mean by that. So someone was born to undocumented immigrants. Today, let's say you're president today, you've implemented this policy. They're adults. They work. They pay taxes in the U.S. They vote in the U.S. Maybe they voted for you. The 25-year-old, 30-year-old that was born to undocumented immigrants, their parents and they themselves are deported to, say they're from Venezuela. They all go back to...
Yes.
What's so crazy about this Republican presidential candidate is that he is a child of immigrants himself, and his father isn't even a US citizen, but let's not get into that. Republicans are telling us who they are, and we need to believe them. We cannot allow for any of these extreme, far-right individuals to win the upcoming presidential election. Too much is at stake. You should not be voting for them if you have an undocumented parents, or relative, because they don't care about your undocumented relatives, and now they are telling us that they don't care about you as well.
All right, y'all. So I want you all to put in the comments what your thoughts are on that. So I do apologize on the video there, but I want y'all to put in the comments what your thoughts are on what you just saw, what you just listened to. Those of you who are on TikTok, I want to know what your thoughts are on what was just said. There's no doubt that immigration is a huge issue here in the United States of America. We're not going to dispute that. Like it's a huge issue. It's very controversial, and we don't have an answer for it. We just don't. While on one side of the spectrum you have conservative, you have Republican, you have white Americans, for the most part, majority. They don't want an influx of another race of people coming into the country and possibly taking over, which is going to happen by 2040, 2050. My textbooks in my master's program taught us that the Spanish speaker, Latino, Hispanic, South American, Central America, Spanish speaker is going to be the majority here in the United States of America. Here in Texas, they are already the majority. And so that is what white America has been trying to prevent from happening. They're going to take our jobs. They're going to bring over crime. And what happens is we instill fear. Whenever you instill fear into a people, then it motivates them to do what you want. One of the largest misconceptions about immigration is that people coming from our southern border are bringing over crime. They're going to be rapists. They're going to be murderers. And that's far from the truth. Now, when you have hundreds of thousands of people coming into the United States of America, are there going to be people who commit crimes? Absolutely. But the mass majority of these people are productive citizens of they want to be productive citizens who work and earn a honest wage and are able to provide for their families back in their home countries or here in the States. That is the realistic viewpoint of this. Are there going to be people who come over who commit crimes? Absolutely. So anyways, I just wanted to share that video because it touched me. I had to reshare it. I thought it was insightful, and I thought that it would definitely bring about some conversation. Let's talk about asylum seekers real quick. So I'm going to talk about asylum for those who are petitioning asylum seekers who are thinking about or have been recommended to pursue this application. We'll talk about how you can be better prepared if you have been recommended to also get an immigration evaluation. Now, a lot of times people don't know what immigration evaluations are. And I'm going to tell you what that is and give you a better concept of why this has been a referral for you. So a lot of times people don't have people who are seeking legal status, let's specifically about asylum seekers. They don't have enough supportive evidence to substantiate their case, their cause, their argument. And so a lot of times the attorney will say, "Hey, listen, we need to go ahead and get you a psychological evaluation where a clinician, a mental health professional, can articulate your trauma, your experiences, or how it could be a possible threat to you and your mental health or your life if you return back to your state." So let's go get you a mental health evaluation, psychological immigration evaluation. So let me give you some tips on how you can prepare for that. And then after that, I want to specifically talk to my community who are learning from me your guide to immigration evaluation. So let me run through this real quick. I've got two great gems at the end. If you are a clinician, you want to go ahead and make sure that you stick around. First and foremost, what do you need? This is so big, folks. This is huge. This is astronomical. The major thing that you need, the very basic, elementary things that you need are official documents of your identification. So this looks like an official passport, maybe that you have from your other country. A birth certificate would be golden. Any type of legal documentation that gives you your name, your date of birth, and who you are from your home country, it is extremely beneficial. And a lot of times the documentation is huge because us as clinician, we think that we're interviewing Jeremiah Rankins. He says it was Jeremiah Rankins, but we didn't take any identification and to support the fact that we knew it was Jeremiah. Okay, we didn't have a photocopy of their ID. We didn't have a bill. We didn't have a birth certificate. We didn't have any legal documentation showing that it was actually you who we interviewed. So how does the courts know that we actually met? So it's very important that we have some type of documentation. So just to put it in perspective, if you were in the United States of America, you're going to want a passport, a driver's license. You're going to want a birth certificate, those types of things, a social security card, those types of identifications. That's what we would need equivalent to your country. All right. So what else do you need? Medical documents. So a lot of times people have suffered physical harm. Uh, let's say that they were speaking out against their government. So it's a political asylum. And they say, "Hey, I was jumped, I was beat up whenever we did peaceful riots or peaceful protests, peaceful riots." I don't know if there is ever a peaceful riot. So we were engaging in a peaceful protest, and the federales or the police, they came and they beat us up and they threw us in jail. You need the medical records if you went to an emergency room. You need discharge paperwork, what they did, like all of that is helpful whenever we do our report. So medical records is huge. Any medical records, it's huge. Okay. Let's talk about police reports. Any complaints or police reports, golden. Like that helps us substantially really state that you went through these occurrences. You actually experienced that. Okay, so the documentation from a police report, like that is probably one of the biggest, most helpful pieces of support in your evaluation that we can get. So all this information you probably already give to your attorney. You probably already present this to your lawyer already. But the thing about it is we need it as well. Because whenever we're documenting whatever you tell us, whatever trauma experiences, we can back it up with as evidence of the police report, as identified in page 3 of blah, blah, blah complaint. And we can refer back to that. It just gives us meat and potatoes to substantiate what you are claiming. We need that. Let's see what else we got. News articles. Y'all think this is like overlooked? Don't sleep on this. social media posts, pictures, maybe people from your hometown, they experience the same trauma, and you can go ahead and go back to their Facebook feed. I know it's the privacy issue, but they put it out there on social media. If you're their friend, go ahead and snapshot that and bring it in. Hey, look, this happened right here on this day, and it's further proof that you went through this. Maybe it was, let's just stick to the peaceful protest. They were there, they were present on that peaceful protest, and they experienced this. Maybe they tagged you in the post. This was 3 years ago. This was 4 years ago, 2 years ago. You want to make sure that you have any supportive news articles or social media posts if that supports that you were there, you experienced that trauma, that pain, persecution, whatever it was. Okay. Or the possibility that you could face that. Social media, news articles, pictures, videos, um, it's golden. Okay. Really good. So I'm going to put this in order at the very end of this presentation. I'm going to give you the most important documents that you need in order. The last and final one is psych meds or inpatient discharge documents. So if this doesn't happen too often, some people go to an inpatient psychiatric facility or behavioral health facility in their own country. Sometimes those people who are undocumented seeking legal status here in the United States may end up in a psychiatric facility here, okay? An inpatient facility here, a drug substance abuse treatment here. All that needs to be documented. So the discharge paperwork, whenever you're released from these facilities, you want to make sure that you present that to the clinician. Any type of medications that you take, you definitely want to make sure that you include that in the to the evaluator, and make sure that they include that in your report. So let's give the breakdown from, I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are the 5 major things that you need to bring if you have them. Okay. If you have them, the very first thing is the official documents. This is number one. The number one thing that you need to bring are official documents. You guys who are at 14 minutes, you guys who are therapists, clinicians, mental health professionals, this is going to be very important to you. At the very end of this, in about 3 minutes, I'm going to share some golden rules for you to go by. I've got a cut and paste thing that you can take. I'll put it in the comments. I'll put it on Facebook for a little while, and then I'm going to delete that post in 24 hours. So you guys want to make sure that y'all stick around. The official forms of identification, this is probably the most important, because we want to show that we feel confident that we actually interviewed the person who they say they are. That's number one. The number two thing is police reports. This is second and most vital pieces of evidence, because it's legal. It's legal in your country of origin. So that is very significant. Okay, very significant. And then the third thing that is most important is the medical records, because this shows that you had endured, you went through, you suffered, you actually experienced some type of physical trauma associated to your struggle. Okay. So the significance of this, the medical stuff, the physical stuff can increase or heighten or intensify the mental health stuff. So that's why that is so important. Okay. And then of course we're gonna team two, buddy. Okay, so I'm getting these notifications. News articles, social media would be next to the last, and then psych meds or inpatient discharge documents. That's all dealing with mental or behavioral health. Psychiatric medications, again, these two are last. News articles, social media, and then any psych meds. And the reason why those are last is not because they're the least important. It's because it's likely that what's up, David Jones? Thank you. I appreciate this. So David Jones on LinkedIn said, keep sharing knowledge and helping others. I'm trying, bro. I'm trying. Thanks for sharing. So it's not because it's insignificant, it's because it doesn't pertain to a lot of people. So when you bring your psychiatric medications, it's really significant, it's really important, but We just don't get a lot of people who go to inpatient psychiatric or behavioral health hospitals. We don't have people who are taking medications, not because they don't need them, it's because they don't have the medical resources in their home country. Here in the United States, they don't have medical insurance. So there's a lot of things that hinder them from getting on psychiatric, psychotropic medications that they need. Okay. Um, I hope that really, really, really helps you all out. Now we're going to transition a little bit. Let's transition over to the clinicians. At 17 minutes exactly, we're transitioning over to mental health professionals. Okay, so I had talked about the identification cards. Thank you. David Jones said you aren't trying, you are doing. Yeah, and stumbling all the way. So even with the production, I'm doing all these things by myself. And so I appreciate the support. Y'all, that's digital currency. What David Jones is doing right now, he's giving me digital currency. So that is a friendly reminder. Thank you, David Jones, to make sure that you like, you follow, you subscribe. That's digital currency. So if this is free value that you're receiving that is helpful to you, I would appreciate if you just like it and throw some comments, throw some hands up, some praise. I don't care, but just give me some digital currency that lets me know that you support me and you are in my corner. Okay, let's talk to the mental health clinicians who are offering this service to the community, the global community. I like to say the global community because immigrants, migrants, that's stigmatizing. So it's the global community, people who are in other countries who come to the United States of America. I refer to them as the global community. It's a more respectable term, I should say. Okay, so I'm going to paste something in the comments for you guys. And this is the first part of a disclaimer that you want to make sure that you share. It appears that it's only on YouTube right now. I hope it went on to the LinkedIn. But I'm going to read it out to you guys. And again, I'm going to probably end up giving this to you in the future. But for right now, it's just going to be on the live. You may receive it in an email, and you may receive it via on the update. If you are already a client of Your Guide to Immigration Evaluations, I most likely will update that program and add this. So let me read this to you. I must state that the identification documents presented by the individual appear to be authentic at the time of the evaluation. We're talking about the documents that they submit to us. We print out. I didn't mention that. As a mental health clinician, we're going to receive those documents. We're not just going to look at them and give them back. We're going to take copies, we're going to print them out, and we're going to submit that in the report. Okay. So my professional assessment is based on thorough review of the documents provided, including the individual's passport and any other government issued identification. Let's say they didn't have a passport. Let's say their driver's license from their country or their birth certificate, whatever it is. So that's just a sample of what you want to state. You want to let the attorneys, you want to let the courts know, the judge know that you did look at these documents. They appear to be authentic, but check out this next paragraph of the disclaimer. Okay. Look at this next paragraph of the disclaimer. I know for sure it's on YouTube. I don't know if it's on LinkedIn. I don't know if it is on Facebook. But here is the second part of that disclaimer. It is essential to emphasize that my expertise lies in psychological evaluation, and that while I can offer an opinion on the authenticity of identification documents, it is not within the realm to provide a definitive determination of their legitimacy. So those are a lot of big words, and I stumbled over them, but there's a lot of big words there. But basically that says that I focus on psych evals. Like I do mental health stuff. I don't check for authenticity of a document. I don't look at $20 bills in the light to make sure that it's a real $20 bill or if it's counterfeit. That's not my profession. So if I made an error or a mistake and this wasn't Susie, John, or Jeremiah who I interviewed, I mean, they brought these documents and they presented themselves as legit, and I thought that was Susie or John. This protects you. I'm going to go a little bit further. It is not within my realm to provide a definitive determination of their legitimacy. My assessment is based on my training and experience and evaluation authenticity to the best of my ability. So whenever those documents are presented to us, guys and women and them, whenever these documents are presented to us, we are just stating that we received them, they looked real, we accepted these documents as legitimate, and it's up to the courts to make sure that, I mean, that's legal stuff. That's on y'all's end. Okay. I just make sure that I take copies and I submit it to you guys. And I interviewed Susie John as they claimed that they were. Okay. Very important that you, number one, make copies of all the legal documents, or the identification cards and documents, but the identification cards that they bring to you. Make sure you make copies of everything. And then make sure that you implement this disclaimer in your reports. Y'all, I mean, that's real, man. It's really important that you do that. We do that as clinicians. It's very important that we do that. So this is something that's brand new that I just started doing. I should have been coaching you all to take pictures. I should have been doing this at the very beginning of when I put this course out. We need to be getting their identification cards. We need to be, either taking photos. I prefer to scan. There's free applications that you can get online. What's up, Micah? If you're still here, I know you're the one who gave me the 521 likes. I appreciate the love. Man, I could be wrong. Somebody else may have liked it, but I appreciate the likes, man. I know you come through. So yeah, make sure that you all take copies. Make sure that you print them out and you include them in your report to prove that you actually interviewed Susie John. Susie John. Okay. I don't know where I got that name from. Okay, guys. The very last thing that I want to talk about is country conditions. Whenever we're doing these psychological evaluations and writing these reports, these country conditions. Okay, let me give you a little backstory. My wife went to a training, a national training out in Washington, D.C. Last week, 2 weeks ago. And when she came back, she's an immigration therapist, or she's an immigration lawyer. If you guys did not know this, she's an immigration lawyer. So I guess I should have led with that. So she came back from this training. She says, hey, look, there's something very important that you need to know, you want to hear so you can share with your students. And that is, it is recommended that you no longer include country conditions in your reports unless you are an expert in country conditions. I was like, whoa, dang, it kind of blew my mind. Like, dang, it makes sense though. It makes sense. But it really blew my mind that they no longer want us to include country conditions in our report. So just a brief overview, you all. Country conditions. I'm going live on YouTube. It's Therapy Swag. It's the Immigration Therapist on YouTube. Jeremiah Rankins, my first and last name on YouTube, and you can further identify me as Immigration Therapist. I would get a phone call. I would get a phone call right here in the middle of my life. I would. I mean, I just would. Let me go ahead and put do not disturb. Okay. All right, y'all. So yeah, make sure that y'all are supporting me on my YouTube channel. Very important. I'm gonna go ahead and revisit that here in a little bit. So anyways, I thought it was can't post comments to some destinations. Okay. All right. Yeah. So some of y'all may not get those the two I guess I can go to the post. I'll add those to LinkedIn and I'll add those to Facebook, y'all. So I'll definitely go back and put those in the comments immediately after this live. So yeah, I thought that was extremely interesting that they do not want us to include country conditions unless we are an expert in those country conditions. Let me tell you what happened. So I had a therapist, a clinician, a master's level clinician come to me via email. She said, hey, listen, this attorney deemed me as an expert in Colombia. Okay. So evidently this person was born in Colombia, lived in Colombia for 20, 30 years. And now they are a clinician. They're doing immigration evaluations. And now the attorney says that they are an expert, or the attorney wants to use her as an expert. And that's not necessarily how it works. Just because you live in a place, you know, maybe there was more information that she left out and she didn't want to share with me. I felt like there was a power struggle. For one, I wasn't Hispanic. I wasn't, Spanish wasn't my primary language. So she probably looked down on me, because that's typically what happens in this profession, in this niche anyway. And so she was a Spanish speaker, and she came to me and she was like, "Hey, how much should I charge if I get put on the stand and I talk about country conditions?" And I said, "Well, hold on. First and foremost, let me tell you, it's very hard to be qualified as an expert on country conditions. You need to either be a college professor, a PhD level college professor who studies the country and the region. You can't just say, 'Hey, I lived in this area for a long time, so now I'm an expert.' It's like you lived in the hood for 30 years and you're an expert in the hood. No, you don't know statistics. You don't know the numbers. You just don't know enough information. So I don't know if she does or doesn't know everything that needs to be known about this country. I don't know what type of studies and investigating she's done about her native country, but it's very, very difficult, folks, to be qualified as an expert on country conditions. So, anyways, if the attorney deemed her as an expert and wants to put her on the stand as an expert witness, okay, so that's totally different. But my point of bringing her up was to share that to be an expert on country conditions is extremely difficult, and that's something that I wouldn't recommend that anybody try to do, especially those who don't speak the native tongue, don't understand the culture. Yeah. So I'm no longer pushing country conditions in my reports. I'm going to make sure that I put a post in the Your Guide to Immigration Evaluation Therapist group. If you are a mental health clinician who is joining me on TikTok or on any other platform, make sure that you go ahead and you join that Facebook group. It's free to learn how to do immigration evaluations. You're not going to get the ins and out, but you'll learn if this is the right niche for you in this profession. I am a licensed professional counselor right here in the state of Texas. I started off by doing immigration evaluations. Then I went on to do therapy services for immigrants, and then for the global community. And now I teach other clinicians how to do immigration evaluations. But not only that, I just started a new YouTube channel. On that YouTube channel, what I'm focusing on right now, today, as we speak in this seat, while you listen to me, man, that sounded like some rhymes. Right now, in vivo, I am giving value to those who are immigration applicants who are seeking asylum, going through the asylum application process. And I also wanted to double dip and reach out to those who are clinicians. So that was the last part. I'm at 30 minutes right now. So at the last thing that I want to share, and then I'm gonna give my outro. Y'all stick around for my outro, because I spent a lot of time at the park creating this this outro, and it's 18 seconds. So the two things that I want y'all to walk away from with this live, for those who are clinicians, make sure that you're taking three things. Make sure that you're taking pictures, you're documenting that you receive these identification cards, and you upload those into your report, PDF, however you want to do it, Word document. Make sure that you upload those documents in your report. Two, make sure that you add the disclaimer. Okay, I'm going to put that in the chats. If I don't do it today, I'll do it tomorrow. No, I said I was going to do it right after. So make sure that you are uploading the disclaimer. Now, in that disclaimer, you can upload that disclaimer in the chat GPT or any other AI software and say, "Hey, reword this to sound professional," or reword this using some of the same verbiage, but just reword it differently. I don't know. So put it in the chat GPT, prompt that thing, and spit out something different. And you can do this for every line that you copy and paste on each report. Throw it in the chat GPT, and from the persona from a seasoned psychologist, reword this statement to sound very professional so I can turn it in or submit it to a judge. Okay. And boom, that paragraph, that sentence, whatever it is, it'll reword it, spit it out, and boom, you copy and paste that to your report. Okay. AI software is here, makes our life easier. Learn how to use it. Man, I'm about to take this sweater off. So the third thing, the very last thing that I wanted to share is country conditions. I don't want you guys, I'm not going to be preaching this. I'm going to advocate that you do not put country conditions in your report because we are not qualified as experts to provide that type of information, those types of details in our evaluations. That's all I got, you guys. It's 32 minutes. And I am so grateful for you guys sticking it out with me this long. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and you comment. That's digital currency. This is free value that I'm dropping off to you. Make sure that y'all show the love. Thank you.
Jumping out the whip, shit cold. Watching my stepgram froze. Most my day spent alone. Slimming my bro, he knows. Gotta pay dues. Walking in mud, you can check my shoes.